Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Bank, Timothy N.J. Antwine, made the clarion call to the leaders as he continues on an outreach program this month, going through the Eastern Caribbean islands within the financial space of the ECCU, meeting with government officials and interest groups. Part of his outreach includes engaging the media and the public. Climate change and resilience was one of the major topics on his latest stop in Grenada. The Caribbean region is prone to the harsh effects of climate change as rising sea level and drastically changing weather patterns continue to threaten the islands. While speaking to journalist Callistra Faria during a conversation with the Governor program on local media, the Grenada Broadcasting Network on Wednesday night, Governor Antwine says he is looking forward to the 2022 United Nations Climate Change Conference COP27, where he hopes the Caribbean leaders will present a united front on achieving climate justice.
Well, I think we have to stick together and make strong advocacy. And I expect going into COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, that the Caribbean's voice will be very loud and powerful and united on this issue of climate justice and the need for us to get access to climate finance. We all know it, but it has to be repeated. We are among the lowest emitters, but the hardest hit. And unfortunately, the resources promised under the Paris Agreement, that $100 billion per annum per year, those resources have not been forthcoming. And so we have been stymied in our efforts to build resilience. We need resources for adaptation, for building climate-smart agriculture, for building climate-resilient infrastructure. The fact of the matter is, when you build a sea defense now, you have to build it 3 or 4 feet higher than you normally would because of sea level rise. Those are real needs.
Governor Antwine maintained that damages to the region due to its vulnerability to the effects of climate change needs to be compensated, adding that monies must be coughed up from the countries emitting the most carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases to assist with the Caribbean region's financial needs to building climate resilience.
And a study in 2018 showed that the frequency of natural disasters in the Caribbean is 7 times higher than anywhere else in the world. 7 times higher. And the damage and losses from these disasters is 6.5 times higher, 6.5 times higher than the global average. That clearly makes a point, Callistra, of our vulnerability and the huge needs of our region for financing to build resilience. And so we must go into COP very strong, but we have to continue our advocacy. And we need to have this coalition for climate justice. So I know going into COP27, one of the things that they will be taking, controversial for some, but appropriate certainly for the cause, is this issue of damage and loss assessment. That some compensation be made, some climate justice. Because what we're seeing, and we talk about natural disasters, but we see extreme weather events. These sharp floods out of nowhere, unseasonal, that create damage. Every few weeks you get a harsh rain and you get some slides and you get some roads and bridges damage. These things add up. All of those are climatic effects.
Governor hopes that COP27 hosted in Egypt from November 6 to 18 will be a turnaround event for the countries suffering the brunt of climate change, and that financial aid to these countries will finally be administered. The world's greatest contributors to climate change had not kept up their end of the bargain in the past, as the annual target of $100 billion toward climate financing agreed upon in the 2015 Paris Climate Accords has never been met. The highest amount of finance raised was $80 billion in 2021, but that sum was not garnered from the agreed contributors, but rather from a mix of public and private sources. For GBN News, Beverly Telesford.